Hi, this is Adekyn with another Grand Ages Rome campaign mission video. This is the Battle of Lupia River Revisited. We're going to go back and do the Lupia River again a little differently. Just to remind you, the objectives on this one are to survive a bunch of barbarian attacks, and our bonuses are to capture all the barbarian villages, export slaves, and capture all the milestones. We're going to do this with a character that has no talents and no estates. And then we're going to make it a little more interesting by saying we can't build a forum. So we're not going to have any equites, we're not going to have any patricians, we're not going to have the high income religion or any of the special buildings. We're going to be strictly a plebeian society, and we're also having no military except our drafted squad. We're going to need them to run around and do some things for us. In fact, we're going to keep them very busy, but we're just going to limit ourselves here and see how interesting this can be. You'll notice queuing up the research here while we're on pause, and I queued up my squad. The research, the important thing, herbalist becomes very important since we can't have a hospital. We need a herbalist. Very important to get your health to 100% because on these missions that last for an hour like this one does, you will eventually have plague. If you've ever had plague in this game, you don't want it. It is just a total pain. The way to avoid it is to have everybody covered by water and everybody covered by a herbalist, or in the expansion, have everybody with water plus build a hospital, which is like having a herbalist everywhere. So, herbalist research is important. Our technology and research is important because we're going to need a good output from our mines and our farms. And of course, since we can't do any of the real architecture stuff except for herbalists, that's really it for the architecture branch. It doesn't help us otherwise because we just won't have the access to those buildings. So the other thing is you're going we are going to hit all those bonus objectives. We're going to export the slaves. We are going to capture all the milestones, and this is the biggie. We are going to capture all those barbarian villages with our one little hastati, which will be fun, but it can absolutely be done if you've watched any of my other videos. You probably know what's coming. We're going to use tower attacks to take down the barbarian villages. So this is just a standard build like we would do in any game. We're going to start with kind of the way I like to do them: two lumber, two brick, and a stone to get started. We'll grab that iron mine because it's up there and we can use it for exports. And obviously, since we're not going to have any soldiers, we don't need it for our soldiers, but we will need the income. So the key to this one, of course, if you think about how we're going to do this with towers, and of course our towers will be our only defense as well. So we can have a couple of options here. We can either wall in our city or we can build choke point defense. I'm going to go with choke point defense for this run through. I have done it before, walling in the city. Not a big proponent of walling in cities because it limits your building. In this case, we're kind of limiting our building by our own little artificial limitations of no forum. So, we really don't need a ton of building space, and we could wall this thing in, and it might be worth doing just for the fun of it, just to get the look of having a city that's walled in. But anyway, here we are with our standard build. We're going to get our food going, and we're going to place our fountain and get our food going so that crime goes away. And really, the nice thing about having an insula only build is if you got food, they're happy. That's all it takes, really, is food. There is one other thing we have to watch out for. I'll come to that in a little bit when I show you kind of how we have to do this. The one thing I will sort of apologize for, because of the artificial constraint of no forum and no troops, using this tower attack is a little kludgy. Building towers so close to an enemy so fast is a little bit taking advantage of the game mechanics, but still, it was fun and it's something to do. So so here we go. I am a little rusty on playing. It's been a long time. If any of you've seen my other videos, it's been a while since I've done anything with Grand Ages Rome. I've been off doing other stuff, and I just kind of dusted it off the other day and played a game or two just to shake the cobwebs off, and thought I'd try this little challenging mission here, just to see if it could be done. So we've captured one trade route. We're going to send our Asadi down here to capture another one. Obvious key to this one is you got to have money, you got to have stone, and to have
money in a plebeian society. You got to do a lot of trade. So we're going to have to produce things like goods. We're going to have to get our slaves going. We're going to have good farm production and mining output so that we'll have something to trade that's worth something. And that's what we'll focus on, is just almost like continually building trading posts. You'll see throughout this we're just constantly building another trying to capture the trading routes and then getting trade posts going so we can get income. And you'll notice there I started the herbalist, the research for that finished, and we're getting that herbalist down right away. We could wait a while, but I don't want to take any chances and forget about it, because it's too late once you get the plague. Once the plague hits, it's too late. You're in perpetual buying people back. It's just a pain. So we want to avoid that. Anyway, we're going to give them a little entertainment with the arena, but we're not going to use the arena to draft any troops. We're just giving them some entertainment with it. And so now we're setting up our slave trade. The next one, we're going to trade some goods, and then we'll start trading different things, iron and flax. And basically what we'll do is, as we capture the trade routes, we'll see what can we trade, and we'll build new trade posts and start trading. And then we'll want that economy strong so that we can start buying stone, because we're going to need more stone than what we can get just from that one quarry in order to defend ourselves against some rather significant attacks in this mission. Without any troops, obviously, it's going to take a lot of towers. So you can kind of see what's happening. You can also notice the barbarians there are coming out, because I'm getting close to them as I walk along that ridge. But no matter, we'll just go ahead down and capture that trade route, and they will go back in after we get further away from them. And the idea of the barbarians coming out when you get close to them is a key concept we're going to take advantage of. That's how we're going to capture these barbarian villages with only one hastati. By taking advantage of their tendency to come out and feel threatened, and then they counterattack when they feel threatened. Well, they're going to run into a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise, it's standing right in front of them, but they'll run into something that they simply cannot handle. So there's not a ton to say at that. I mean, we're not doing any of the cool building. So basically, we're just kind of going along with building up our infrastructure, and again, kind of revisiting the research. Obviously, the stone walls, the two architecture ones, really are herbalist and the stone walls, improving your towers so that they have greater range and greater attack. You certainly want those two. And then it's just mostly technology research. There are a couple of military ones about improving your troops, but really the value, the strength of our troop is almost irrelevant in this, the way we're doing this. It's all about our towers. So it wouldn't really matter as long as we have somebody who can go out there. So you can see I kind of said, okay, I can trade wine. I need to upgrade my wine to get a little more wine so I can trade it. So I'm basically letting my trading capabilities drive my build. In other words, if I see I can trade wine, then I build a grape field, so I can produce wine, and then I see how much I need to get my trade going, and I upgrade to that point, and invest that money in the upgrade, and then start trading. So you just kind of go through that process on and on. And these principles, the trading principles we're talking about here, you could apply to any game, even if you don't have this artificial limit of no forum. Even if you're going to have the forum and all the bigger buildings and what have you, you can still apply these same principles about trade to improve your trade and improve your economy. Although honestly, in this game, the economy, you can base it off trade like this. You can base it off religion. You can do a combination of the two. You can, economy is really important in any RTS, and you got to get it right. However, it's pretty easy here because, again, you do what we're doing here. You maximize your trade, or you, as I said, maximize your religion, or you do both, which is probably the best of all worlds. And the other thing, of course, since we don't have a forum, we don't have any taxation, so we had to get this economy going. We had to get this trade going because there was no way to tax and get us some emergency funds or anything like that. So you can see I moved my Astati up and made those attackers come up to those towers. So with the tower support, my single little squad there can easily defeat them. We'll continue this in part 2.